Hey, what up everybody? This is Stevie Breach coming to you with a video hyping up this Saturday's big fight, UFC 190. This is Beth. I'm going to screw this up because I've never even seen this chick fight before. Beth Correia going up against Ronda Rousey. Of course, Ronda Rousey being one of the biggest draws in UFC. But UFC, I haven't heard the number. Maybe it was because I was gone last week on vacation and I wasn't listening to Wrestling Observer Live every day about what the number for the Conor McGregor fight was. That I heard that it was supposed to do monster numbers, even though the Jose Aldo was pulled and it was replaced. It still was a big draw to see Conor McGregor if he was going to be able to live up to the hype that he had sort of put on himself. But with Ronda Rousey seems to be this chick in UFC that has just been overly dominant for every fight that she's had. UFC has been touting out the fact that if you add up her last 3 fights, Ronda has won these fights in just about 94 seconds, I believe is what they were saying. And to me, that's sort of like a fact that you shouldn't really be putting out there. I mean, UFC asking for $60 to have this fight on pay-per-view. When you get down to it, 3 fights, that'd be if you bought all 3 of these fights, $60, $120, $180 you spent on a minute and a half of Ronda Rousey fighting. I know that Ronda Rousey is a big-time draw. She's really hot. She's a really good fighter. But is the women's division really that strong that you put somebody in there against her, it's worth that money to throw down to see it? I know that they'll have an undercard. They'll have the free fights on Fox Sports and things like that. But I know that people go out there and buy the Ronda thing, but I've had so many people at my work coming up to me and openly asking for a stream to watch this fight because of how dominant Ronda has been, that people don't want to be paying to see the fight because they know that the fight's not going to be worth their money at the end of the time. You can sort of relate Ronda Rousey to Mike Tyson. I mean, Mike Tyson, when he was running through fools in the 80s, when he was one of the best fighters in the world before he ended up going to prison, and then he came back and he was still dominant, but there was guys that you could put in there that were really able to be better than Tyson. And maybe Tyson would have continued being one of the best fighters in the world if he hadn't had that prison deal for the rape charge, where he ended up having to go to prison for a few years. And then once he came out, he's fighting against lesser quality guys, trying to build himself back up. And then once you put him in the ring against the Holyfields and things like that, that's when it went downhill. I know that with the fight coming up this weekend, a lot of people will be putting up there about Ronda Rousey's secondhand things that have been in the news. Honestly, with Ronda, at the McGregor fight, she was doing press and she was saying that her fight camp that she was going through is one of the best fight camps that she's ever done. And she is in her top performance. Before the last fight, there's people bringing up the fact that she had done the Fast and the Furious movie. She had been in the Expendables. She had just been doing press for the Sports Illustrated swimsuit edition. I haven't really heard Ronda Rousey really doing anything secondhand other than promoting UFC since WrestleMania. And I know that people are really looking forward to see if Ronda is going to be in a WWE ring come next April for WrestleMania 32, either in The Rock's corner or maybe getting in the ring against Stephanie McMahon. But UFC 190 is her next big appearance. It's going to be I can honestly tell you that I was going through the UFC's Twitter, and they put up some fights of Beth Correia fighting against the 4 Horsemen girls with Rousey, beating them off one by one to become the new open #1 contender. I know that Miesha Tate won her fight on the fights last Saturday, so she's the new #1 contender that's going to fight Rousey if Rousey wins this one. If Rousey loses, then she'll have to get her rematch, and Tate will have to wait for that. But we'll see what goes down Saturday, UFC 190. Ronda Rousey, is it worth the money? Hey, what up everybody? This is Stevie Breach coming to you with a video about UFC 190. Of course, this is the big fight that's going down, starring Ronda Rousey going up against Beth Correia. This is a fight that honestly I had to do a little bit of homework on. Honestly, I didn't know much about Beth Correia. This fight is happening at UFC 190 in Rio de Janeiro. Down in Brazil. This is a big draw for UFC outside of the United States with one of their biggest, most popular fighters, Ronda Rousey, up on top. Ronda Rousey has broken through and become more of a star than UFC can hold. She is basically popped into pop culture, appearing at WrestleMania 31 with The Rock, Triple H, and Stephanie McMahon. She starred in movies, being Fast 7, Expendables 3, She was just an Entourage, and she's already filming on making another movie with Mark Wahlberg in the foreseeable future called Mile 22, which is going to be filmed in Southeast Asia, which she's already planning on making after her Miesha Tate fight. Ronda Rousey is a girl going into this, basically winning a lot of her fights very, very fast. I believe if you add up her last 3 fights, she's won them in just over 90 seconds. And that's for all 3 fights combined, highlighted by the Miesha Tate fight, which she won in, I believe, 18 seconds, with basically the armbar just locked in and it was over. That's Ronda Rousey's move. That's what she's known for, and that's why people flock to her, to see a pretty girl like this be able to dominate as strong as it is. But April 1st, this is going to be the fight. Ronda Rousey, for me, honestly, does have the draw and an attraction of being a hot girl that got this armbar. She's won a few of her fights without the armbar as of late. Being able to knock girls out. But honestly, when it comes down to me, I know that Beth Correia is coming into this fight 9-0. She's beaten a few of Ronda Rousey's training buddies by beating Duke and Shayna Baszler. But to me, honestly, I don't know anything about this girl, and it just seems to me to put this fight up on top is a little bit of a risk for UFC. I know that they're trying to build up this little bit of a feud. I don't think it's UFC getting behind it, but definitely they're writing about it. Beth Correia is running her mouth, trying her best, basically to say that, she's going to win the championship. She's going to be the girl that beats Ronda Rousey. She's taking shots at her, having her head too much into Hollywood, basically, making too many movies instead of worrying about training to fight. Ronda Rousey is one of the most, brutal fighters there is out there. She's been talking about this camp that she's been going through, getting ready for this fight, saying it's one of the best camps that she's ever gone through. But the real heat, the real battle, why people want to see this fight that they're building up is basically Correia did an interview where basically she said that when she won the fight, I would give her a rematch so she wouldn't cry so much. She can't handle pressure. I will give her the opportunity to try and get her belt back. Please don't kill yourself. Don't commit suicide. I will give you a rematch. Why this strikes a bone so deep, with Ronda Rousey is that her father committed suicide when she was just a young girl. She was raised by her mother, and to bring this personal issue into this fight makes it where basically Ronda Rousey is being quoted as saying that she says, "I just want to beat her in the most embarrassing and devastating way as possible." Ronda Rousey's even gone on to say that basically when she sees an opportunity to finish this fight, if it's too early and she doesn't feel like she's inflicted enough pain on Beth Correia, she is going to drag the fight on longer, making it an opportunity for Beth Correia to maybe get some lucky shot on, or maybe get some lucky hold in. Definitely, we did see the fall of Silva a few years ago, basically taking an opportunity in a match to try and run his mouth, to try and taunt his opponent, and he got knocked out for it. He stuck his face out, and the guy punched him right in the nose, and boom, it was over. TKO, new champion. Ronda Rousey, I believe in this, maybe she's trying to sell the fight. Maybe she understands that there's people out there reading these headlines about Ronda Rousey. Her last, 3 fights added up are less than, just over 90 seconds. And maybe it's not worth the $60 to sit down and watch this show, seeing how this is the main event. Maybe she's trying to say that this fight's going to go on longer because there is a blood feud. It's not really, McGregor versus Aldo. But, definitely it does have that headline to go with it. Ronda Rousey really breaks through with UFC. She is one person that brings, women to the table to see her fights. You always hear about, the women of the house, and if it's a wife or a girlfriend or whoever's at the party, they don't really care about all the guy fights that are going on. But as soon as the Ronda Rousey fight starts, it's got to get down to there to see this fight. Honestly, in my opinion, I don't know a lot about Beth Correia. Like I said, she is 9-0. She is undefeated. I don't really give her a chance in this fight. I think that Ronda Rousey is honestly too dominant. She's very, very well trained. She already has her whole career basically planned out. She says she's going to win this fight over Correia. She's going to take the Miesha Tate fight as soon as she can take it. And then she's going to go film this movie with Mark Wahlberg. And basically from there, then she'll get ready to fight another unnamed opponent. But definitely you can already hear the talk of Ronda Rousey retiring as champion sooner than later. Her mother has said that basically she doesn't want her to fight all of her life. She doesn't want to take the risk of getting injured in the octagon for UFC. She wants to be able to plan a life after this. Ronda's been doing this as long as anybody in the women's fighting game. And, she is the star. Does she go until she loses, or does she want to retire on top, being able to say that she's never been beat? But, even with that, you have to see that there's going to be those questions that come after she does retire, whether, whoever steps up to become champion, if they go on any kind of a run, do they try and throw money at Ronda to try and bring her back out of retirement to see if they can beat the incoming champion? So we'll see what's going on. I say that Rousey more than likely will fight until she loses and even fights after that point. But on Saturday, we get to Ronda Rousey or Beth Correia from Rio de Janeiro, UFC 190. Hey, what up everybody? This is Stevie Breach coming to you on the eve of UFC 190. Of course, this is Ronda Rousey going up against Beth Correia, and that is going to be the main event of the big fight going down at UFC 190. These fights are coming to you live from Rio de Janeiro. I don't think this is the first time they've gone down there, but honestly, in my mind, I think that this is pretty freaking cool. That basically, UFC has expanded and headed south down into Brazil. I know that a lot of Brazilian fighters, come from there, and I know that every time that, there's a big fight in Vegas with a Brazilian fighter in the main event or, in a big match that's going to be going down, they get really loud. So this honestly should be a really rowdy, really, cool crowd, one that you really need to see. If you remember the fight night that happened in Ireland for Conor McGregor, I believe this was last year. It's been a while since these fights. That crowd really was not quiet from the time they piled into the arena until the last fan left. That was a really ruckus crowd. I know that Conor McGregor has been promised by Dana White, go out and win this fight against Aldo, and we'll book you in this big, huge venue in Ireland, and you'll get to defend your championship in your homeland and be looked at as a big-time hero coming out there like Braveheart. That Conor McGregor is a big old showman, and he likes to live it up to the most, so I'm sure he would love to do that. But his first quest is getting over the Jose Aldo fight, which hasn't been named yet, but it has been rumored to be going down in Cowboy Stadium in late December or in January. Looking forward to that. Either way, we can get it. But of course, this is the Ronda Rousey versus Beth Correia fight. Honestly, I just learned how to say her name maybe 5-10 minutes ago. I had been looking at her name thinking it was Correia. I don't know a lot about this girl. I've never seen her fight. I know that she's gone out and she's defeated member of the Horsemen. She beat Shayna Baszler, and that is sort of what tiptoed her way into getting this shot against Ronda Rousey. But honestly, from the stuff that I've seen of the press conference and the weigh-ins today, Correia just comes off as a mega bitch, and I just want to see her get her ass kicked. At the weigh-ins today, basically they were getting their picture taken, and during the picture, Correia just looks for this chance to get under Rousey's skin, maybe see if there is any vulnerable part to Ronda Rousey in her fighting style. Just screams into her face, and Rousey just looks at her like, "You dumb bitch." She did not show any signs of weakness, any signs of being scared of being hit or attacked or anything. Correia just was looking to get some kind of advantage, and I think this is basically where you can tell Ronda Rousey has this fight won before it's even taken place. I know that the betting odds are like 99 to 1 for every dollar bet it's bet on Ronda Rousey. She seems to be the ultimate favorite in this. Rousey's coming in at 11-0. She weighed in on the scales today, and basically she's good to go. This fight is 100% ready for action. I believe Rousey weighed in at 135, Correia weighed in at 134. I don't think there's a lot to say. I know that like some people are putting into perspective that when Mike Tyson lost his championship, it was on a fight that was held in Japan and Tokyo, and the travel and a whole lot of things went into Mike Tyson not taking a lot of precautions into this fight. He didn't train that well for it, but Rousey is down in Brazil right now. She's training for the fight. She did her open fight workout, and she trained real hard. She looked like she was really going into this fight at 100%, and I think that Rousey's really going to take this. I mean, even when you look at the home Brazilian crowd, they're not really behind Correia. It seems like they're more behind Ronda Rousey. Ronda Rousey has said that she's very glad to be in Brazil. She's going to give them the best women's title fight that they've ever seen, and she's going to make sure that she beats Beth Correia in the most dominating, devastating way that you could ever beat anybody. So we're going to have to see. Rousey's already promised that she's going to end this. She's not going to end the fight as soon as she can. She wants to. She wants to put the most damage on Correia that she can. So we'll have to see. Not really scared about this one. I think that Rousey's going to be pulling out the fight. On here, I don't know anything about the undercard of any of these guys that are fighting. It pretty much seems like it's a one-match show. Rousey versus Correia. Who do you guys got? UFC 190.